and you use your conscience to speak when you see evil being done and meted out to others. And that's always been a lot of problems we face in society. We say, oh, because I'm benefiting from XYZ politician, then I will not speak up. But you know what the person is doing is not good. But because as long as you benefit, and as long as you eat from it, and as long as that's what you can benefit, other people can die. Their sufferings do not matter. And and that's what causes a lot of problem in society, because you see people's sufferings are not respected any longer. People's sufferings are not upheld. And when people's sufferings are not respected, then society becomes tantamount to disaster and destruction, because people are not respected. Their pains, their suffering, the avarice, the chaos they go through doesn't become respected. So the question is, what is the worth of your conscience? Some people can even sell their conscience for as much as 50,000 naira. Some people, their conscience is only incumbent on their present need. Some people, their conscience is only about what they can gain. Some people, their conscience is only about what they claim they want to gain for their children. But I look at people like that. I say, okay, you want to gain for your children, but you are there when they are destroying the future of other children. It is time for you to check yourself. You want to gain for your children and your generations yet unborn, but you are presiding over the destruction of other people's children. Isn't it time to check yourself and ask yourself, what am I doing to the generations yet unborn? What am I doing to people that I need? What am I doing to people that are helpless? For some people, it's about how much money they can dole out for their girlfriends and their cronies. And because of that, they look away when other people suffer. For some people, it's just about how much they can get for themselves and build big mansions. But you forget in a hurry that the big mansion is not tantamount to a big life. And no matter how big your mansion is, you will still leave everything on earth and go away. So the question is, what future do you want for yourself? What life do you want for yourself? And what is the worth of your conscience? If your conscience has a price, then probably you don't have conscience. Write that down. If your conscience has a price, then probably you don't have conscience. Because if your conscience has a price, then know that somebody else will always match the price of your conscience. Be very careful. If your conscience has a price, then you don't have conscience. And I say that deliberately. Because you see, we keep hearing things like every man has got a price. But truly, every man has got a price to shut up when evil is being done. Every man has got a price not to say anything in the midst of evil. Every man has got a price not to see anything in the midst of chaos. Every man has got a price not to see anything when people are being slaughtered because of money. So does it mean that the life of people are worth more than money? And we've seen in history too many times that to some people, the life of people are worth more than money. In fact, I think it was somebody that once said, I think it was Clemenceau, that once said that in war, petrol is worth more than. But should we have a life like that? That petrol is worth more than blood? That money is worth more than blood? That money is worth more than the existence of people? Should we have a life like that? Should that be the priority of our living? Should it also be about only what we can gain? Or it should also be about what we can live? You see, no matter how much you accumulate, the legal tender called money is only a legal tender on earth. Once you go to the great beyond, you can't take money away with you. And it has to be said, for all your gettings, remember that you are not assured of life. No matter how much you have money, you can't buy life. The best you can buy is good medical care. But if God, the giver of life, says he needs your soul, it is that moment you go. So please do not deceive yourself to think that every conscience can be bought on the altar of money. Do not deceive yourself to think that because somebody is giving you money, then he says you shouldn't speak up and you don't speak up, and God will not judge you for not speaking up. You see, all of us in our life, for the time we turn away from the things we ought to speak up on and we look the other way, there is judgment for all of us. And you see, we will all account for the things we have come to do in this life. And trust me, you will not be giving preferential judgment in heaven because of the money you have. You will not be giving preferential judgment in heaven because of the Escalade you buy, or the Ferrari you buy, or the private jet you own. It is based on what you do on earth that you will be giving judgment. So both the poor and the rich will be judged equally. You see, heaven is not a place where people use all sorts of manipulation like they use in Nigeria, that you can get your way because you have money. No. The truth has to be said that it is a place where everybody will be judged equally. So please, I beg you, and I ask you again, what is the price of your conscience? If you have sold your conscience, God is speaking to you today. Do you know a certain truth about the hurt that was done to somebody, but because you were paid off and told to walk away, you allow that injustice pervade the air? Yeah? You know so many secrets about things, but you walk away from them because you know as long as you collect your own part of the money, then everything can move. If you live your life like that, yes, see, you might live your life like that and live good in the eyes of people and think nobody sees you. But always remember that you always have a date with your maker because your maker sees you. So if you collect things, gains, gratification, just because of your own benefits, at the expense of the suffering and the pain of people, then, and you sold your conscience and they told you not to say it, then you need to start checking yourself. That's why I ask you again, how much is your conscience worth? When people give you gifts, you should be able to tell them that despite your gifts that you've given to me, even if you say, oh, I shouldn't refuse it and I don't want it, and I refuse it and you say you don't want it and say, oh, please take it, you should be able to tell your people that give you gifts that, see, irrespective of anything you have given to me, it will not stop me from saying it the way it is. And you see, the reason we have a lot of problem in the country today is because due to poverty, a lot of people's conscience are not even worth the word conscience written on a piece of paper. They sell it because of their own gains. They say, oh, I need to do it for my children. I need to get the best things of life going on. And the question is, how far can you go with this? Yes, you will have some money in your bank account. You'll live a good life. You'll deceive people. But for how long? For how long? Because the most important thing you will ever have in your life is the relationship with your maker. There are too many times we see politicians do all sorts. They give money to build roads. You bribe the villagers. You do a part of the road. Probably you even take the media and cover one part of the road. Then you bribe the media because you can buy media. And you move on like nothing happened at the expense of the suffering villagers. And the people continue to suffer at your expense. Yes, see, you can get away with it. But the question is, think of the lives that you will be hurting. Think of the people that ought to benefit from that road. I once saw a politician that a dual carriage road was approved for them to do. And he did one part of the road. In fact, the part of the road that he did was the part of the road that's always been there. The second part of the road that he ought to do, he just graded the other part and he commissioned. And that day he called the media and they commissioned one part of the road. And they said they should look away from the other things, because with camera, people can tell any lie they want. But the truth is, till date, because he didn't do that road, there are lots of lives that are suffering as a result of the fact that he didn't do that road. And that suffering has continued. And for everybody that continues to suffer that road, hope you know that the guilt and the punishment will be on you that think, oh, I'm all-knowing, so I can manipulate people. And that's why I beg you, for whatever it is, even if you have family relatives that are politicians that give you money, you should be able to expressly tell them that giving me money is not going to stop me from still saying it the way it is. Until you get to that point in your life and you tell people that I'm going to talk straight irrespective of anything, then you've not lived your life. Because if you can don't stand for something, then you can stand for anything. And if you can stand for anything, then you don't become a man of value. You become a wheeler dealer. If you can't say things objectively because you don't want to offend people, then you become a wheeler dealer. And when you become a wheeler dealer in society, then people can see through you and say that this man is not a man of integrity. But most importantly, your relationship with your maker, your God, will be able to see through you and say, oh, this man stands for nothing. Because you see all the good things of life you want to have. Let me tell you something. They are all going to fade away at some point. The big houses, they're going to fade away. The big cars are going to fade away. At some point, limousine was the most fashionable car in the world. So if you had sold your conscience for limousine, then look at you today. You amount to nothing. Because as we speak today, how many people still drives limousine? But as of 1993, 1994, everybody wanted to drive a limousine. Everybody wanted to drive a limousine. Everybody said limousine was the biggest. At some point, having a big house in Ikeja was the in thing. But today, life has moved on. People, yes, still want to have big houses in Ikeja. But when you look at it critically, people will tell you that they'd rather have houses in Banana Island and some other areas like that. So when you look at it critically, those things are passing by. Those connections are passing by. The things that used to matter before will not matter any longer. And that's why you should be careful in life. You should ask yourself critical questions about who are you? What is your existence? Yeah. What do you want? What do you want to do for yourself? What are you articulating for yourself? What is it really? And ask yourself the most important question. Can your conscience be bought? If your conscience can be bought, then probably I'll tell you today you don't have conscience. I look deeply because you see, people are fond of saying here in this part of the world that there is nothing money cannot do. If there is nothing money cannot do, then it's a sad reality that money is worth more than life. So I implore you today, please search your conscience. I don't know wherever you might be. I don't know wherever in the world you might be hearing the sound of my voice today. Wherever in Nigeria you might be hearing the sound of my voice today. The question I'd like to ask you is, what is your conscience worth? Is it worth one pint of Gary? And even you might be an electorate that will be giving money. And let's not deceive ourselves. People will still be giving money to vote in 2029 election. They will collect it. But the question is, would you vote according to your conscience by the fact that you collected money from people? Or you will vote according to your conscience? Will you even have the conscience to say, okay, no, I'm not going to take this? Because some people, despite all I have said today, their conscience will not still be worth more than a paint bucket of Gary or rice. And the truth is, you might be able to argue and say it's because of poverty. But the question is, yes, might be the reason why you sell anything, just to be able to get something. You sell your vote, you sell anything. But the question is, does that one pint of Gary solve the poverty problem in your life forever? Does it? Does that one bucket of rice, does that 10,000 naira solve the poverty problem? Or it gives you food for a day? So why don't you think of things that are sustainable? And what are the things that are sustainable? Goodwill, good, providing opportunities for people. These things are more sustainable than when people give you periodic handouts. When people give you periodic handouts, it's not sustainable. It's a meal for a day. And that's why we always encourage you, teach a man to fish. He will have fish for life. But if you just give him a fish, that's all he's going to have. So you might tell to yourself that, let me just take my own parties once every 4 years. Things will not change. But always remember at the back of your mind that for everything that doesn't change, for the fact that you were compromised, you became a part of the things that never changed. Remember, for everything that never changed, for the fact that you were compromised and you added your voice to the compromise, you became a part of things that never changed. Problem we constantly face, and it's a cycle. So I ask you again, what is your conscience worth? It's something you should introspect on. What is your conscience worth? Oh, you might say, yes, I will collect money. But the question is, you collect it, and when you collect it, look further. Does collecting it change your life? Is it a guarantee that you would see another one to collect? Because once the person that gives you whatever it wants to give you once is done with you, then it moves on. And the most important thing is, does the person even respect you? Doesn't every person even see you as important? Does the person even respect your views and opinion? Does the person even respect the fact that you are a human being and you play an important part on the path to development of your country? No. Because everybody that thinks that you're worth something and it gives you the thing you're worth, then you become worth nothing to them. So these are the words I want you to ruminate about. Because of proximity and all of that, and for the whole of this month, we've been traveling big time. I've been touring around the country, Abuja, now in the east, and all of that. I've not been in studio, and the technicality of taking calls, I've been really, really stopped. So, what I just want to tell you, please, the things you want to take away from here, we might not be able to take calls today, but by the grace of God, sometimes we'll be able to take calls. But the things I want to tell you today is, look at your conscience. Ask yourself the pertinent questions. What is your conscience worth? What is it worth? Is it worth something that will benefit the country? Is it worth anything that will transform the lives of people? Do you use your conscience for the right things? Do you use your conscience to transform the life and the prospect of people? Do you use your conscience to make changes in the life of people? Do you use it to speak up for the things you believe in? Do you use it to articulate your thoughts and say to yourself that lives of people must change? How many people can truly thank God for your life? Because you see, after all is said and done, those will be the most important thing about your life. Do you use it to support evil when you ought to use to support the truth? Do you use it to call on people and say they must do good? Do you use it to call on people and say they must do right? Do you use it to support everything that has to be good about society? Do you use it to change the course of destiny of other people? I think these are the questions you should ask yourself. And when you ask yourself those questions, it becomes a whole lot better for you. And when it becomes a whole lot better for you, life starts to change for you because the prospect and the possibility are bound. Please, I'd like to call on the man operating the system there. Let the people, let them be able to see the face of the person interacting with them. I think it's quite blank, but we're trying to sort it out. So please, if for anything, if it's worth anything, let your conscience speak up. Let your conscience be that cornerstone. Let your conscience be able to make you say no to evil. Let your conscience be able to make you say no to the things that are not right. Let your conscience be able to make you say no to the things that hold you back. Let your conscience be able to make you say no to the things that are militating against the future of this country. And truly, if we can all truly make our conscience count, there will be less proliferation of evil. Look at the society. Look at an oil-producing state like Delta. I drove around yesterday, Delta, and into the southeast on nature, and I saw a lot of poverty. And I say oil-producing areas. Gas is being flared at their backyard, but no world-class facility. And you wonder what is going on. I wrote a piece about it. But if people have the conscience to speak up and say, no, I'm not going to be a part of this evil, then people will have a good life. People will have good possibilities. They'll have good outcomes. But if you don't have the conscience to speak up and say, I will not be part of this evil, then nothing will change in the lives of people. Then you wonder why there's a lot of agitation. There's a lot of agitation simply because people have refused to speak up about the pain of a lot of people out there. People have refused to speak up about the hurts that a lot of people out there feel. People have refused to speak up about what is happening. Look at parts of this country in sorrow, in tears. People are dying, people are hurting, bandits killing, increase in terrorism. It's because people refuse to speak up because it benefits them. And the question is, how long? How long are you going to do this? And that's why I thank God for what we're doing with VOP, to be able to speak up and speak truth to power and say it the way it is and be balanced and objective. It's not only all criticism. When we say good things, we say, but also we know our criticism is subsidized learning. It's because we want our country to do well. And because we know that a lot of possibilities will abound in the lives of people. That's why we use every method to speak up, to have a conscience. Comedy, we use comedy to speak up, to have a conscience. We use style to speak up. We use art to speak up, to have a conscience. One thing has to be said in life. Once you speak up concerning the plight affecting people, then their lives start to change. But once your conscience is bought for a certain price, then nothing changes. I repeat to you once again as I start to wrap up, please, how much is your conscience worth? If your conscience is worth anything at all, then please remember, it's as good as having conscience at all. If your conscience is worth $1 billion, $1 trillion, whatever you can put a price tag on as regards your conscience, then know you have no conscience at all. Because, people will always be able to give you money for the worth of your conscience to look away. And for the fact that you looked away based on what they give, look at it deeply. You will see that every time you look away, it affects the life of millions of other people. Millions of people are suffering. Trust me, you don't even know if millions of people die just because of one decision you make. And that's for everybody that says, oh, you know what, things can never change, so I'll just vote and collect money. You don't know, maybe your one vote is a decider. And go and check it. People that emerge senators in your area, how many vote margin did they used to win? The other day I was talking to a politician. I said the person that emerged senator, that emerged a Federal House of Rep member for that constituency, didn't win more than a 10,000 vote margin. And normally you have over 300,000 people in that constituency, in Etiosa, that area. But it wasn't up to 10,000 because a lot of people didn't come out to vote. Because they just said to themselves, oh, why will I come out to vote? When things will never change. Or probably they have sold their conscience and they say, oh, yeah, you know what, get money and do otherwise. But you see, you do not know the people that you've denied of the possibilities of a good life, possibilities of healthcare, possibilities of good things of life, because you've made one decision. For you, it might be in the workspace because they bribed you and they started, hurting members of staff. Somebody once told me a story about somebody that because he collected money, some South Africans came to start up a company. Then the South Africans wanted to pay Nigerians well and heavily. The next thing he said was the South Africans should not pay Nigerians well because he wanted to collect money for his own pockets. So this is a case of Nigerians bringing other Nigerians down, going around and telling foreign company owners not to pay Nigerians well. One too many times. The reason why foreign companies, when they come to Nigeria, do not pay Nigerians well is because other Nigerians tell them not to pay Nigerians well. That was the big deal. That's all. You just give them a small amount and they'll be okay with it. So for you, you can sell your conscience because you want to get benefits from the boss at the expense of your fellow Nigerians, and you deny their rights. And the question is, do you know how many people you've hurt because of that decision? Do you know how many people's lives are in penury because of the fact that you sold your conscience, that you saw evil and you refused to speak up? Do you know how many people's lives you've hurt? Do you know how many people's prospect you've damaged because you saw evil and you refused to speak up? If only you knew how many people's lives you hurt, then you will not sell your conscience. So I'm going to stop there today. You can send me mails, follow me on Twitter at Roof of the Fire, get comments back to me. I can see you, Olayinka Van Holt. I can see you, Adetunde, Ibrahim Akim, Tetru Tapar. Thank you so much. Egunbola, before your portion, special, I like your style of journalism. Like Delegate, I'm not Delegate. I'm different. I just do my thing based on my own convictions. Everybody have whoever they have. All right. So, and I can see a lot of your messages. Keep the messages going on. Send me messages. Olayinka, I can see you. Thank you so much for joining from Austria and those in the diaspora community at Roof of the Fire. That's RUFFYDFIRE on Twitter. Don't forget, by 10 o'clock, we've got a very powerful political interview coming up, where we got a chance to drill and talk to somebody, the chairman of the Young Progressive Party. We asked him about his presidential candidate, and we asked him also about his governorship candidates in Akwa Ibom, possibility of that. So we have great interviews coming up by 10 o'clock. We'll just take some worship intercession and some great music of worship. Then we come back for that. But keep in your prayers very soon. I should be back live in the studio so we can take calls. It's just painful that we can't take calls and interact. But send all your messages, please, and share. They take this video and share across the social media platforms on Twitter, on Facebook, and the likes. And let us keep the interaction on. Let us keep the possibility on. Let us keep the thriving on. Let us keep moving. Let us keep pushing. And God will bless all of you. Thank you so much, my producer in studio, Dawsy, a big man. It was your birthday the other day. I love you so much. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for all you've come to represent and do for us right here, at VOP 90.3. So we'll just play some quick, great worship music and get ready. At 10, we're going to be interviewing Mr. Bishop Amakre, the party chairman of the YPP. Let's even hear what the YPP has for Nigerians, and we did some grilling. Also, I'm also going to be looking at what is happening in Kogi State. The female candidate of the PDP, Kogi Central Senatorial District, Natasha Akpoti, has been complaining that her life has been under stress, she alleges that the governor has been having back and forth skirmishes with her. And I had the first exclusive interview with her. She said she'll not be able to go campaign in the States. That's another one I'll be bringing you as soon as I get the interview. But we'll hear that of Amakre this week. And also, I've got some more interviews for you. I took out time to interview Dr. Panapesi Paul. He's been singing since 1967, one of the biggest gospel artists out of Africa, great man of God. He has a new album coming out on the 23rd of December. That day means a lot to me. That will have been my mom's birthday. But it's a very great album. I'll also, get the interview out here to you. So we have great interviews coming up. And very soon, we should also have one of the top candidates for governorship in Lagos join us. We should also have the likes of Jan Dor join us live, top candidates for governorship. So you get to ask all the questions. And possibly I'm also working on the possibility of one of the other top, candidates, presidential candidates, as soon as I can get my hands on them, to come on live and talk to me, and via this platform, we'll be able to get all of them. So God bless you. And that's about all we can take this Sunday morning. Bless you. Love you guys so much. I appreciate you. But remember, how much is your conscience worth? If your conscience can be bought for something, then you don't have a conscience at all. How much is your conscience worth? If your conscience can be bought for something, for money, then you don't have a conscience at all. How much is your conscience worth? If your conscience can be bought for nothing, for money, for something, then you don't have a conscience at all. God bless you. God continue to lift you. 10 o'clock again. I'll be back by 10. Then we'll have another wonderful session and a great interview by 10. Or drop your messages on social media. Drop it right here on the YouTube stream. Drop it at Rufai Oseni on Facebook. If you want to send me a mail, rufaioseni@gmail.com. And probably I'll put out a number, that you guys can also send me text messages only. Text messages only. You can send me text messages on 0705, and 0705. Okay, let's probably see if we can take also on that number, 0705. Okay, it's because I'm still streaming with that number. So 0705 290 1525. Send me text messages on that number only. You see anything you want to chat with me about anything, text messages only. Don't try to call the number. If you call it, I'm not going to pick it up. Just text messages, all right? 0705 290 1525. 0705 290 1525. That's just the number. 0705 290 1525. 0705 290 1525. Text messages only, I repeat. Please just send me text messages as regards, your read and things that are happening. And God bless you as you do all of that. Bless you. Bless you so much.